Hello everyone and welcome back to Mentos Plays The Delvers Drop Alpha. It has been a long time since I have actually played a game other than Spelunky on camera, so I figured this would be as good a game as any to get into it with, and to get back into the swing of things with. So we're going to pick up the Sorcerer here, and see if we can't do some good things. Now this is Rogue Magic version 0.3.3. The prior videos were all on 3.2. So there has been an update since then. Nothing major in terms of new additions or anything, more so just little tweaks to things that were brought up on the early access forums. So there isn't a huge difference between the versions, but it is a new version that has some differences. For example, those rats that don't blow up, they just kind of immediately come after you and you can just kill them easily. Those are new. And here comes another one who wants to be a jerk about things. So we are going to slap this switch to open up the drop. And we are going to drop the base, and by the base I mean the sorcerer, into the dungeon. Now I have played this game a bit since my last video. Probably not as much as I would really like to. Mostly because I have been kind of tossed up between hectic with things like looking for a new job, as well as playing a lot of Spelunky, watching Breaking Bad. All things that you've probably heard if you followed my Spelunky series. But yeah, so I've been a little bit hectic in terms of stuff, so I haven't really recorded much outside of the way of Spelunky lately. So I figure that this is as good a way as any to get back into it, and more importantly, it hasn't been that I've just not recorded things outside of Spelunky, it's mostly that I haven't really played a whole lot in terms of other games lately, which of course means that I am a little bit rustier than I probably would normally be if I had played this as much as I should have. But at the same time, I do feel like I have decent enough understanding of the game to be able to do decently well, despite not being in practice. Not to say it's an easy game by any means, it is definitely not, but so we got a lot of steam vents, some spike traps. That is one of the additions to this version, is there is now a new type of spike trap. It's a floor spike. What do you do? Oh, you alter which vents blow. Ooh, wow. Get me over here. No! No! Stupid air vents. Let's take the rogue. Since we did the sorcerer last time, let's go with the rogue. We'll just kind of switch off. Of course, the rogue is a little bit more dangerous because you have to be up close and personal with enemies, but it's also a little bit faster. And it is, if they get up close, it's not you doing less damage, it's you doing the damage that you're supposed to be doing. Of course, they also have a little bit more health, having 3 hearts and 2 armor, instead of the 1 heart and 3 armor that the sorcerer has. We're just going to destroy this stuff to collect all the gold that we can, because we might as well try for as much gold as we can possibly get. Swing around this way. There we go. I do like putting out the torches and watching the level get darker. That goes way back to back playing Perfect Dark, all the way back in 2000. When did that come out? That was right after 2000, like 2001 maybe. Playing that, you could shoot out the lights in levels, so especially on, I think it was the Air Force One level, you were actually able to go through and take out pretty much every single light in the level. So you could make the entire level just pitch black and try to navigate like that, which was really fun. So that's kind of been a habit of mine in games with destroyable lighting since then. Oh my dear lord, I have taken a lot of damage on this room. You can tell that I've played more with the sorcerer than the rogue. Let's come in here and see if we can gather up some supplies. We got a little bit of health and armor, that's good. We're in a relatively reasonable position now. Much better than we were before, that's for sure. I've said it before, but I do really enjoy the fact of the different characters have not just different health, but different abilities to hold armor. I think that's a really cool idea. These guys are nice and simple. But yeah, I think it's a really nice idea to have it where the characters have literally different health possibilities instead of just, oh, well, you start with this much versus this person starting with this much. I hate the plague rats and their destruction when they die. Well, I actually love the enemy design, but I just hate when they blow up in my face. I do think they've maybe shortened up and heightened the time it takes for them to blow up, so they are a little bit more avoidable when you're playing as a rogue. These candles also can spawn less fires at once now, although as you can see they can still spawn a ridiculously high amount that makes it very hard to navigate the room. But we are going to slice through all of these that are out, and then come after the candles themselves. Those little spears sticking up from the ground are the new traps I mentioned. If I walk into those, I will take damage, which at this point, with how low my health has gotten, it might be enough to kill me. Eee. Of course, I believe the rats, when they explode, do 1 full heart, so that would be just barely survivable. Let's head into this next room here. Oh god. I hate you, goblins! Okay, these candles are really my least loved enemy in the game. Like, if I could do anything to destroy every bit of one enemy before I started a dungeon, it would be the candles. Not because they're not well designed, but because they're dicks. Because fighting the candles just makes me want to cry. We might die in this room to these bats and these goblins. Because, quite frankly, I am kind of bad at playing as the rogue. It's funny because when this first started, I thought the rogue was going to be my preferred choice. And now I am realizing that maybe I am not quite that good with the rogue. So, let's see, what are we going to do next? Let's just continue to switch off characters, so sorcerer next for us. It's going to make a quick run down to the drop instead of destroying everything here. Oh, that did result in me taking some stupid damage. Yes, I know, Norden. Please, shut up. God, Norton is the most annoying antivirus software I have ever experienced. Like, I don't know if you guys know about it, but there's a program for Isaac called SpiderMod that was released that allows you to just kind of, in general, have some crazy levels of control over the game that can really spice things up in terms of challenge runs or just in terms of messing around, experimenting with stuff. So I was trying to put that on the computer, but Norton decided, oh, this isn't a well-known file, so I'm just going to delete it. And every time I extracted the file from the RAR, it deleted the file, which left me completely confused for a while because it never told me it was doing so, until I eventually went into the Norton settings and found it. But it's like, no, don't just make choices to delete things. Tell me what you're going to do, and then if I decide to do it, then do it. If not, then don't. Don't just automatically act without my permission, please. I do not pay you to think for me, Norton. I pay for you to alert me and let me make an informed decision. Because let's be honest, most of us can make an informed decision about stuff if you're competent enough in computers to not just download things from any random site you go to. You know, SpiderMod, yes, I know that's trustworthy. A lot of people play it. But not enough for it to be a well-known file, so of course Norton is going to be suspicious of it. That's fine. But if you could just, you know, give me an option and say, hey, I don't know this file, are you sure it's safe? I would be okay with that. Instead you're just like, hey, you know what? I don't know this file, so that means it's not safe, and I'm just going to get rid of it because you must not know what you're doing. Like, come on now, not everyone who uses a computer needs their antivirus software to make the final call on everything that it does. Most of us, in fact, have some level of competency about judging our downloads, and oh god, this room is horrible. I hate you, room. I hate you. This is the room that took away a ton of our health last time, I think. Of course, with this being an early alpha, I should point out, since I do believe this is, if not the same room, very similar, there are not as many rooms in the game as there are going to be in the long term. So the chances of getting repeat rooms on back-to-back runs are going to be much lower come time for the final version. But right now, since there is a limited number of rooms due to it still being in an early stage, running into repeat rooms is not all that weird of a thing. It is kind of normal for a game such as this in alpha to run into that situation, just because obviously you are still working on building things. But for those of you who are unaware of that fact, yes, if we see repeat rooms, it does not mean that they're rampant in the final game. It just means that out of the levels that are built so far, the random number generator has given us the same one a couple times. And you know, even finished games like Isaac, I've had Isaac runs where I've had the same room like 5 rooms in a row. It's like, this shouldn't even be possible with how many room choices there are. For you to give me the same room so many times in a row should not be possible. But it happens. And you know what? When it happens, it's okay. And let's see now. We got a spider. I don't like those things. They move very fast and they do a whole heart of damage. Which is one place where the sorcerer comes in majorly handy, because he can attack from a range where they don't see him yet. Let's see now. We've got straight passageway here. There's a goblin up there. I am failing to hit this blob, which is bad. Need to whoop, I'm almost dead. Die, goblin. Die. I hate you. Oh god. So these little blobs here do one whole heart of damage. They are, for the most part, relatively pretty easily avoidable, but at the same time, if you walk into them because you're distracted with other stuff in the room or because you don't see them, which can be difficult at times, just because of their coloration against the floor. And actually not so much that. Dear God, why are there so many bats? Not so much that as it is just when you're trying to look for, you know, the goblins that are green or stuff like that. Sometimes the little guys who are blue like the floor can get lost in the fray. Which is not necessarily a problem, it's just something that you have to realize to make yourself get better at the game. We are very low on health right now because there are so many bats in this room. Let's see now. Okay, this one is stopping right there, that's good, that means we have a chance to shoot at it. Can shoot at this one. We are back to 2 shards of shield instead of just the 1 that we had before. That's a plus, I guess, technically. There we go. I think that was the last thing in the room. Let's try not to get hit by the spike traps. Oh, nope, there's one more bat. I was going to be a dick about things and try to hide. And actually kind of successfully hide for a second there. So we're now back to 1 full shield and portion of a heart. I could go back to the drop room and get some more health, but unless we run into another room like that, I don't think that'll be too important. Although it does seem like we have reached a dead end up here. So we're going to be back to the we're going to be back in the area of the drop room if we want. Oh god, we should have gone. The ghosts aren't that much of a problem. Unlike the pre-alpha, oh god. Thought I was facing directly to the side. Go away, fires. Hate you. Hate you, hate you, hate you, hate you, hate you. Die, 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 die. Candleman, Candleman. I'm not going to continue with that parody because it has already gotten stuck in my head. For those of you who are unaware, I was going to do a parody of the song that says Lollipop in a really, really catchy and annoying tune. And I decided against completing that. But now that I've said that, that is probably stuck in your head, and you hear exactly what is stuck in my head. So, ha! Victory is mine. We are getting closer to high health, and of course it's another room full of bats. God damn you bats. A little bit more armor is good, because I don't know how easily I'm going to survive this room. There's a spider as well, but that guy went down easily. Oh, actually that was a much easier room than the last bat-filled room we saw. Well, I'd still manage to take damage, but that'll happen. Still have not found the lever for the drop on this floor, which is mildly disappointing. We gotta be getting close. Okay, there are 4 switches. This one. That was the right one. Touché. We're just gonna leave that bat there, because he doesn't really pose a threat to me. And then I guess we can head back to the drop and head down to floor number 2. Floor number 2. Now, of course, when this gets to its final version, there are going to be plenty of things that aren't here presently. There'll, I assume, be a mini-map, or even just a full-size map, one of the two, that will make navigation much easier. There's going to be items that you can pick up, new weapons, new stat upgrades, stuff like that. They're going to severely help you to progress, as well as, of course, there's going to be the level-up system, which will make things much different. So for now, it's pretty much purely skill-based. I guess a little bit of luck in terms of where your switches are and everything, but there we go. Yeah, it does come down to a lot more of your ability to use the characters in hand than it does to your ability to survive long enough to get upgrades. I guess you could say at the moment it's kind of like a purist run in Binding of Isaac. Not the built-in challenge that was much easier than classic purist runs, other than the fact that you had to go to the cathedral. But the kind of runs that people used to call purist runs before... God damn it! Just die! The kind of runs that people used to call purist runs before Wrath of the Lamb, which is where you pretty much just tried to beat the game without items. That's along the lines of what you're getting in the Delver's Drop Alpha right now, whereas the final version will be more of a, I guess you could say more of a Rogue Legacy, although it's still vastly different than that. It's not going to be a relatively small size castle that you re-navigate each time. It's going to be a progressive downward dungeon that each floor re-randomizes if you die while on it. Is there an enemy alive in here, or is there something I have to do? Oh, I just have to step on that switch. That makes sense. That's the first time I've seen a floor switch like that, so that's interesting. But yeah, so it's going to be much more of a persistently progressing through zones, instead of entering the castle at the same spot every time and finding your way to where you need to go. But in terms of having a persistent progression system, is what I'm going for in the relation to Rogue Legacy I just made there. So obviously the game is very, very different in its current state than what it's going to be in the long run, which is to be expected for this early of an alpha build. But just want to make that clear as much as I possibly can. And let's see now. This guy should die easily. And we have another lever room. Is it the same one? If we hit this one, does it open up? Nope. There's a different lever that works this time. Let's open this one. Yeah. I picked 2 things, so that means I had a 50% chance of getting those right. And I got it. So the odds were halfway with me. So technically I had a 25% chance the first time to get it. And then mess that up. So let's go down to floor 3. See what happens down there. I think that about ties the furthest I've made it. As I mentioned, I haven't played. Oh, I didn't want to go in here, and there's so many candles. Die, 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 die. Aha! What now, game? What now? But yeah, so, as I've mentioned, I haven't really played this as much as I would have really liked to, just from being distracted with other stuff. But I am happy to be back into it because I really, really enjoy this game. Let's see what happens when we get down to the next floor here. This is one thing that I can't say for sure if it is how the final version is going to be or not. I don't know if the drop is always going to be in a centralized location on the floor or not. Where you're going to always fall down to the next drop and have to find the switch to the next one. Or if that's going to be changed to where it moves around throughout the level. I'm not positive on that, so I'm not going to comment one way or the other. But either way is very much possible. I think it would almost be a little bit better to have it vary through in terms of gameplay. But thematically, I could see it being much more sense to have it consistently placed. Where you always start the level at the drop. Because then the drop is, as it is in the lore, a kind of centralized thing. Not so much a... Aha! Now the pit does someone else in. But yeah, so it is kind of more of a centralized thing than a... There are a bunch of these type of thing. But I still think gameplay-wise it could make either one work. I do have a feeling that it's probably going to be sticking the way it is now. But once again, that could change with new zones, with other stuff like that. So I can't speak for sure on any of that, so I'm not going to. Oh yes, another news, I should have pointed this out earlier. If you haven't heard, today, which I'm going to be putting this video up the day I recorded, so this is actually today, Steam greenlit about 100 games. Well, not about 100 games. They greenlit 100 games. Included that were some ones that I very much enjoy. Both this, there was what was it? Paranautical Activity, of course, finally got greenlit, which makes up for the ridiculousness that they faced when they were trying to get published by Adult Swim Games. Let's see, what else was there? One that I haven't played, but I've seen a lot played of and plan to play. Super Amazing Wagon Adventure got in. That's a real cool game. Kind of a spin on the Oregon Trail type of game, if you are unaware. There were countless games that got in there. A lot that I'm not incredibly familiar with. So I will be kind of looking into some of those, I'm sure, as they are released. But at the moment, they've just been greenlit, which means that at any point now they could appear on Steam. Obviously the ones you've seen me play on channel, the alpha is for Kickstarter backers, so that won't be available on Steam. At least not in this stage. I believe the beta, when it gets there, is planned to be available for purchase into early access. Or that was kind of the plan around the Kickstarter time. But the alpha, at least in its early stages here, before it is borderline feature complete, is relegated to Kickstarter backers. But once this gets to a state where it is put onto Steam, I highly recommend this one. I highly recommend Paranautical Activity, Super Amazing Wagon Adventure. I had to look through the list of games again to see, because I know there were some other ones which I am quite high on, but oh god. But at the same time, I can't think of offhand which ones they were, which is my apologies for not being completely prepared for that commentary, but I kind of forgot that this was a relevant fact to today's video, so I didn't really prepare myself beforehand, and I apologize for that. Because I am not professional. But professionalism has its bounds. There's nothing wrong with being a bit unprofessional at times. As long as it's not in a horrible way, then there are plenty of ways I can mention that I'm not going to. That would be quite a bad way to be unprofessional, but In the sense that it applies here, it's not quite so bad. Oh, I didn't even realize that. When I move those, I can only move certain directions? So that kind of created like a Zelda type block puzzle here, where you can push the middle one out, that one down. That's kind of cool. I didn't realize that before, that those were kind of situated like that. But that is a kind of cool effect. So this room is the first one I've ever seen that has allowed me to open up the door before all enemies are dead. I am, of course, seeing as these are my least favorite enemies to fight, tempted to just walk out on those candles, but then I'm pretty sure they would still be there. We'll get rid of this easy rat first, and then the candles. And then finally the plague rats, who are probably going to cause me the least trouble in terms of survival. There we go. Now if I can hit this guy, he should blow up. This one as well. And onward to the next room, which I am not sure where we need to go actually, because I have gotten a little bit lost. Let's see now, we can go to the right over here. Floor 3 is quite a large floor and is getting quite difficult in terms of the sheer number of enemies they're running into on each room. I don't believe there's currently a boss in this, I could be wrong, but I don't believe that we will be running into a boss fight at the end of what's in the alpha. I believe it will just kind of come to an end. I believe there are 4 floors in the alpha right now, if I remember right. Oh god. There we go. And this will be our last run of the video, since we are right about at my usual video length. But hopefully this will be going on for a while still, because we are doing decently well actually. Probably easily the best run of Delver's Drop I have ever had on camera. Get rid of that guy, get rid of this fire. The good thing about the fire is it's very weak, so even melee strike with my wand can kill it. Let's grab that. I'm curious if at some point, given the fact that it should be obvious from the way this game kind of feels, or looks in terms of gameplay, it has some Zelda inspiration. It'd be kind of cool to see, although I'm not sure if it's the case, if there was a situation a la Zelda where you could get a sword that shot sword beams for half the strength of the weapon. I think that would be kind of a cool addition. And open up, you know, things like the rogue or someone to the ability to use ranged combat with a weapon they're effective at, even if it is significantly less damage than what they do in their melee combat. So kind of the exact opposite of what happens with the sorcerer. Okay, and we have loaded into floor 4 here, which is, of course, quite good. Let's see if we can open up this drop and get ourselves down to what would be floor 5 if it keeps going on. I'm kind of excited to be this close on my first video recording of this in quite some time to beating it. At least if I recall correctly beating it. I am not absolutely positive that there are only 4 floors in this current alpha, because it is escaping my memory right now. Let's kill off these pods. Come up here. We got some pillars. I think these are actually the first pillars that we've seen. Oh, we got some goblins spawning. I did not realize that. Those weren't there when I walked into the room, were they? Like, I didn't just completely miss that those were there, right? Let's pop all this stuff open. I probably shouldn't have eaten that health potion. Yes, these goblins are spawning at some interval that I have not quite worked out. So let's just kind of get out of there. So now we're seeing more of a variety in the requirements to leave rooms. We had that one room with the candles that had the switch on the ground that allowed us to leave early. Now we had that room with the goblins that just spawn repeatedly. So it does show a little bit of the variety of room types, even if it is... Whoop. Even if I didn't really notice that and point it out correctly at the time. I hate you, bat. And of course, bats continue to be the roguelike nightmare. There have been a severe amount of games. Spelunky, Legend of Dungeon, what else? This one. What else has there been that I've played where bats have been a problem? I don't know, actually. I can't think of it, but suffice to say that bats have been kind of the stereotypical, like, annoying flying enemy of many games I've played recently, or at least a few of them. And they continue that trend here by being not very difficult, but when they hit you, they do a decent amount of damage, and they can hit you relatively easily. So now nothing else coming off this room, I think? Nope, so we can go back out the door at the bottom. Woo! That was real close. This is back to goblin spawning rooms. There's no reason to fight in here, because we will not be able to... Do I have to kill them all? I guess I do. So even though they're spawning, it seems like I have to clear out all 4 of them to open the room. And then when I come back in, they'll respawn. And that'll require me to kill them again to get through again, I'm guessing. There we go. Let's pop open this thing while we're here. That gave us a little bit of extra shield. Are they still spawning? I don't see any more coming up. That's kind of weird. I'm not sure if that was a glitch I just ran into or if that was intentional behavior, quite honestly. We are back to full health, which is awesome considering how far we are in the game. This ghost could be a jerk, but we can take him out easily. Well, it did allow this goblin to get caught up to me. That's obviously not a preferred situation. We do have another ghost. Ghosts aren't necessarily the biggest pain. If you recall in the pre-alpha demo that we had a couple episodes on, the ghosts were one of the most difficult enemies in the game. They have certainly been toned down to a point where they are much more manageable now, so that is definitely a good thing. They can still be kind of pains and their attacks move quick and sudden, but they are just much more simple to hit, which makes a huge difference. They don't kind of move away so often. Got a room with some pipes and nothing else. I'm not sure how big the floors get as you go on in this, obviously. But it does seem like we're getting a pretty decent sized floor right here. Get rid of that guy, get rid of this candle. Thank you. Get rid of that bad. Candle number 2 goes next. Flame, and then our plague rats. Maybe one will kill the other? Nope, not quite. Okay, so this is another dead end for us. I am starting to run out of knowledge of where I still haven't been yet. We can start destroying some more of these, get some more shields. We already have one. There we go. And there we go, back to full health again. Have we been up already? Apparently not. Whoop. There we go. So we are looking for our switch room that'll allow us to open the drop and see what lies beyond. We have a treasure room right here, that's kind of cool. This is just a whole bunch of stuff to pick up. That'll easily put us back at full health. I probably shouldn't destroy all this stuff and accidentally pick up a bunch of armor, because it could come in handy later. But at the same time, I can't resist picking up the money. And it can be hard to avoid the shields once you have had them drop. We are going to try to leave as much health on the floor as possible. I don't know if we're going to need it, but I could see it being the case. Well, we also want to pick up as much money as possible. Neither of those just release anything until I hit it with my wand. That seems like a minor glitch. The fact that when I hit those with the melee of the wand, they don't release anything, but when I hit them with the magic, they do. That does seem like a very minor glitch. Nothing that is obviously game-breaking or anything, but something that does cause you to think twice. This room has a lot of stuff that I'm not a big fan of. Let's get rid of the bat first. That candle is dead. That bat is dead. Starting to take out those flames. That's good. We also want to take out these spiders because they are quick and damaging. And the goblins are also quick, but we can take them out much easier. Maybe. Die, goblin, die! I am apparently not the world's best aimer. I think that we could all decipher that already by this point, but you know. That guy is dead. This bat is also dead. Let's see. We can go up here, see what happens. We got a room full of some ghosts. And a candle. Lots of fire-based enemies in this room. If I had some type of fire-resistant armor, that would have been a much less scary room than it would have been as is. I do believe that this is the last path that we have to go on. So I believe we have to find our switch at some point along here. I could be wrong about that, but I believe I've been in all directions so far. Of course, the pits, unlike Zelda, where they just kind of take away a little bit of health and put you back at the start of the room, actually kill you. So we really don't want to fall into one of those and have the run ruined by me not being careful. Ghosts are actively approaching now, which is, of course, dangerous. We still have quite a few rooms that have been that are available from here. I am actually kind of surprised at the length of this floor. I'll just go up first, see what happens. We've got another room with a pit in the middle. Accidentally picked up some armor. This one does have an exit from it, which does imply to me that there is maybe something good over here. And we've got to be getting close to the switch. There's no way we can't be. Oh god, that one ghost got me from behind. That's what she said. And by she, I mean that girl in, what was it, Scary Movie 2 where they're in the mansion? And there's that ghost who hooks up with the one chick. I think that was 2, yeah. And then there's the pot monster who rolls the stoner up in his sheets and lights his afro on fire and starts smoking them, which is awesome. Those movies have not necessarily been nearly as good as they were in the earlier days. Although then again, I never really was a fan of Scary Movie 1, honestly. It was 2 that actually made me enjoy them. 3 wasn't bad, 4 and 5, well I haven't seen 5, but 4 was kind of iffy in my opinion. But yeah, the second one was definitely my favorite of the series. And that scene was a big part of that. Kill that ghost before he manages to attack. There's another ghost up here. We also want to kill quickly. Although luckily for us, he did get blocked. Bats, you are fast, and you are pains in the neck, and I hate you. So you are all going to die. No one is stopping me from completing this run. Not even this 40-minute timer that we are at right now. So let's see, we had like 2 runs early on that lasted through, I think, like, what, like 7 to 10 minutes or something like that? And now we're at the 40-minute mark and still going on the run that followed it. Who would have seen that coming? Definitely not me. Otherwise, I might have considered just ending the video at 2 runs, because this is still going quite strong. Although it is good to show off a little bit of the later areas that are in the alpha, which I have not shown off yet because I haven't gotten there before, because that gives you a better idea of just the basic progression of the game. Even though it is still an alpha and it's not finalized, and there is going to be a much different progression come time for the full release, it does give you an idea of the type of progression you can expect. Let's kill this blob before he gets to us. This goblin was kind of a troll right there. Another blob, another bat. Okay. I really think we had to be close to this switch. Assuming there is a switch, as there has been before. It is always possible that floor 4 is just meant to be a huge floor that has no end. But there we go. There's our switch. So let's go see what happens when we drop down to the next floor, assuming we can navigate our way back to it. Which could be difficult, because this has been a sprawling floor. We're going to want to go right through here. We're going to want to go up or down. Down to the right. Push this block out of the way. I mean, I'm in familiar territory. I'm recognizing these rooms. Here we go. And after our drop, we are back to the start. So that is the end of the alpha after those 4 floors. Thank you guys for watching my first successful run of Delver's Drop, the alpha version here. We will be back with more of this game, especially as more versions are continued to be released. If you haven't yet, check out the game. If you haven't backed on Kickstarter, there is no way to access it just yet, but there will be in the future. In the meantime, thank you guys for watching as always. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed that very successful sorcerer run, and I will see you next time. Have a good one, everyone.